Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a best of 3 from GSL Group A round of 8. The bottom left spawning as our red Zerg player playing for team on site. It is Solar. And in the top right as our blue Terran player playing for no team currently. It is Gumiho. Let's see what the man is doing. Alright, double barracks opener. The golden standard, or at least it was the golden standard a couple of weeks ago. Nowadays, I feel like ever since the Cyclone patch, we've been seeing some low ground factories being mixed in as well. Although this still remains a very popular and viable build. Usually, if I see Clem play a build, then I know that it's been stress tested enough. Clem is the type of guy that only plays builds that are fairly safe and also kind of all round. So it tends to be a good indicator of what a build is if you see Clem play it. And he's been playing this quite a bit, and but basically every single Terran has been playing this quite a bit. So it seems fairly safe, it seems fairly solid. As Solar opens up with a standard hatch first into Extractor and Pool. The map here is going to be Alcyone, as it has some, what's it called? Was it called Golden Wall? Yeah, Golden Wall-like features with those these mineral patches splitting off the left side of the map from the right side. There are rocks in between the gold. There are rocks over here, as well as mineral patches, 5 mineral patches. So there really is a lot that can be done here. It's an interesting map. I really find this an extremely interesting map. It's one of those maps where you look at it and you think to yourself, well, you can imagine some pretty wild games in here. Early on, we often do see some camping, as the first 3-4 bases are fairly easy to hold, which does not necessarily promote that more aggressive type of playstyle. But then you really see the way that this map functions with a proper left side and a proper right side really split off. Lynx moving on to the high ground as this hatchery... not sure if it's going to be in some serious trouble, but there's also a 4th Reaper coming in right now. Grenade being used on this hatch. This is just a 4 Reaper opener, but a 4 Reaper opener can perhaps take out a hatch. Metabolic boost is still, well, 27, 28 seconds away from finishing, and this hatch is falling lower and lower. The next Reaper now showing up. That's going to help a lot in taking down the HP on this hatch at a rapid pace. There we go! Hatchery gets taken out. This is not how Solar had imagined this early game to go whatsoever. As a tech lab on the inside, as well as a reactor, well, in the wall, will help keep any intruders out. 3rd TC is on the way in the main base, so 3rd base will be quicker here for Gumiho than it is for Solar. Solar with 12 Lynx trying to move on the map a little bit as he takes the middle. I feel like this middle area would be sick to have Reapers in. Just such a powerful little location there for Reapers. Doesn't seem like Gumiho wants to quite occupy that space yet. Factory now on the way, so he's moving into a 2-1-1 setup of 3 bases. This is one of the most popular follow-ups and also one of the most all-round follow-ups that the double Reaper or the double barracks Reaper opening has to offer. Double gases, quick factory in here. Lynx are kind of roaming around that watchtower, waiting for something to happen. Of course, if the Reapers dive too deep into this base, there is a possibility for a run-by or a surround as well. So, gonna have to keep all of that in mind. Marines do get spotted. Don't forget, Solar is fairly unaware as to what is kicking off. He's not aware that there's even a 3rd base yet. So we now have a minor move out with a couple of these Marines as well. Perhaps just to occupy the middle of the map. We're gonna see what the response will be out of Solar. There's currently only 2 larvae available. They're just being sunk into more drones. So Solar's keeping his head cool, realizes that right now is not a move out timing quite yet. And as this Overlord is going to pop in, it will see that command center. And I think we will see continued drone production out of our Zerg player because of that. Look at this beautiful little move here. So simple yet so effective. Running around the army saying, hey, I want to know how many more Marines are coming in here. Are we going to see any Marines whatsoever? And as the 3rd gets spotted, I think Gumiho now, or sorry, Solar is now aware of everything that's going on. We saw a small round of Lynx being added in. But as we have a Baneling Nest, we have an Evo, we're going to see a couple more drones here. So the first 2 medevacs will start right about now and will be out 30 seconds. So the first serious threat coming out of Gumiho will be 6 minutes and 10 seconds into the game. And that means that Solar still has some time, and he's using that time wisely. I feel like his 4th base is a little bit delayed, has taken a lot of gases pre-4th. A high saturation as well. So if he adds any more drones from this point on out, they're just going to be oversaturating. Look, he's adding 6 more drones. 66 drones. That is a 6-gas Zerg. But Solar doesn't want to be a 6-gas Zerg. He's going to be on 5 gases, I think. Unless he's playing Muta. That's very rare to see, especially out of Solar. Solar is a Ling Bane boy. Loves to go into Hydra, Ling Bane, into them Vipers as well. That is what he does best. That is what he knows best. His carapace is a little over half, well, a little less than halfway done actually right now. Second Evo starts. Matter of fact, drop heading towards the left side as these Marines and Reapers still occupy the middle. This watchtower is officially the Terrans right now. Get a minor stim forward, 1 scan will take out 2 tumors. Not the biggest deal, plenty of queens around. That is 225 minerals wasted if you ask me. It's not really going to delay any serious amount of creep threat. There we go. No follow-up there either, so yeah, Solar is completely fine with that. Look at that. Hatchery really quite late, I'm surprised by that. Macro, however, phenomenal. Hasn't missed a single inject, I think. His money is staying low on only 3 hatch for this long. That is difficult to do on the drone count that he is on. Really quite impressive. He's gonna add the Hydra then, so he can start spending his money into Hydras. More Banelings now being morphed. Carapace not quite done. Centrifugal Hook's not quite done. This is a scary force. Does have the +1 attack upgrade. +1 armor is about to finish up as well. So 1-1 here versus just +1 as Gumiho reroutes this drop into the main base. It's going to drop it and... kind of scary here. Kind of scary indeed. Okay, target fire is good. 3, 4, 5 Banelings perhaps get gunned down there. These Marines are done flying missions for now. Just going to land back on the ground. Stand at the edge of creep. Just for a little bit. Now come in with a scan. Nasty little miss-move command there out of Solar. He's gonna lose a bunch of these links for, well, practically free. He's lacking some serious creep spread on the bottom side. Forced into a 5th base on top. This seems like a really weird position to take a 5th to me. And it feels uncomfortable. It looks uncomfortable. I don't know how it feels, but it looks very uncomfortable here for Solar. This is a crazy position as well, of course, with mines, with tanks, really with anything that has splash damage. It seems so far... Gumiho, however, hasn't built a single unit that deals splash except Hellions. He's adding Hellions for Hellbats. This is a style I've never seen before. Just never. This is super uncommon. I'm not familiar with this whatsoever. As these queens are in a bit of trouble, perhaps. I think a medevac might have gotten taken out there. 2-2 getting closer to finishing up. Solar is trying to stabilize this game. Ooh. Almost some mismanagement there out of Gumiho. Is gonna lose another medevac. This medevac flies forward as well. Yeah, this was bad control. As now the push comes from the top side. I guess that's what he was paying attention to. There's really no splash here. This is such an odd attack. I don't understand this at all. And Hellbats are good against Lings, but they freaking suck against Banes. And they're also not that great against Hydras. Gumiho's just gonna get cleaned up here. 30 supply right now in favor of Solar, who adds in a single Infestor. Of course, much more comfortable to do this post-patch. For the people not aware, the Pathogen Glands upgrade has been removed and just integrated into the Infestor whenever it gets built. So, much easier to just sprinkle in an Infestor here and there. It's definitely been useful against Terran. We have seen it being useful so far against Terran. Of course, Fungal did lose a range for it, so every upside has a downside. So in the short term, it's good for the Infestor. In the long term, it's much better for Terran. +2 right now. Melee is a little over halfway done. We have a Hive on the way. Gumiho really should start 3-3, because it could net him a pretty solid... a solid advantage in the upgrade department. 4th base now lands. We have these armies being split. Just an awful situation for Gumiho, who had decided up until now to just go completely without serious splash. Hellbats aren't really splash in the same way that mines and tanks are. It doesn't feel like that to me, at least. Not a Terran expert, but it's extremely rare to see this type of playstyle without any tank or mine backup. Here comes a Fungal, is going to connect in a big freaking way, and every Marine gets taken out. Solar takes a significant lead right now in this game. Oh, single mine. Well, single mine shot gets 11 kills. Another mine shot doesn't quite get there. Overseers need to be created. We see Pneumatized Carapace start immediately as well in... I guess it's the main base, no? On the fort base, there we go. Tanks, Liberators, all in production as we have triple factory pumping tanks. 3-3 has finally started. Range upgrade. I think Carapace is not a weird priority to have in this case if you're a Zerg. Solar moves towards the bottom as well. And although Gumiho is not looking great economically or army-wise, the one thing he's looking pretty okay with is when it comes to the creep denial. There's not that much creep on the map. I'm not sure how much is due to his credit. Can you see that? You can't really see the creep tumors here in the units lost, sadly. But I can guarantee you a lot of creep tumors have been lost already. Still a couple of active ones on the map though, and Solar perhaps also just not doing the greatest job spreading them out. Continuing pushing the purple goo, making it harder for the Terran to move on the map. This right side army looks like it might have some potential. I like that. Wanting to kill a 5th base here, if successful, would be a very big deal. I think these rocks are very annoying for Solar, and I would love for him to take them out. Allowing just another path, a potential flanking path if this position ever gets taken, because this position is crazy. Actually crazy. Right side of the map now being used by both players as a secondary battleground. I hope these guys are on hold fire mode. That would be absolutely epic. Oh, that would be so sick. Ah, it gets scanned. Sadly. It looked like a bait. The move, you know, the moving looked like a bait. And I think Gumiho's spider's senses started tingling. I also don't think the lurkers were on hold fire, so it wouldn't really have mattered. Is there seismic spines already? Okay, seismic has finished up. Adaptive talents is on the way. Going to make the lurkers a little bit quicker when it comes to burrowing. Good clear there on that mine. Solar spreading his creep at least towards the right side. The middle right side of the map. This base is fairly well set up. There's no Vipers in this composition whatsoever, which is extremely confusing because this is one of the things that Solar is so well known for, is for his Viper usage. Hydralink Viper really is his jam often. And I'm surprised to not see it. Nidus Network now being added in. Gonna have to wait to see how that's being used. Yes, rocks being taken out, of course, is brilliant for the attacking party here, because it allows much smoother rotations often. No fungal there would have been huge. Yes, Gumiho is maxed out, but his army quality is still fairly low. 41 Marines, 6 tanks, 9 Marauders, and 2 Ghosts. And especially the 40 Marines is what seriously worries me. He needs to find a way to get rid of them in a sustainable manner, really. Like, you don't just want to throw away 40 Marines, but you also don't want to have an army with 40 Marines. So whether it's going to be through drops or like just trading it for creep would probably be good. Probably want to trade it for some links as well, ideally. You don't just want to give them away for free. That tends to be needlessly expensive. Yeah, here we go. So some minor fights here. I wouldn't mind if he commits just a little bit harder with them Marines. He really needs to get rid of them, and doesn't quite manage to do so. There's another army on the far right side. I do like that move out a lot. I really do enjoy that. Feels good, man. Big pickup here. No Vipers around yet for any potential parasitic bombs. The right side does get taken out. This army moves forward. There's 2 Ghosts in there. Ideally would stay alive. Don't forget, Gumi only on 5 bases right now. I'm wondering where his future is going to be. Is it going to be on the right or is it going to be on the left? Technically, he has control of this base. Just by having the planetary over here, he has control of this base. So Solar can't reasonably get this unless he manages to take out both these planetaries, which seems, once again, unlikely. Solar now making a rotation, though, towards that side. Vipers, once again, not in this army, making tanks much better than they should be. So Bailey's not really hitting anything else. Where are the Vipers, Solar? Okay, first Viper, 15 minutes in. That feels fairly late. Yeah, we haven't lost a single Viper yet, I'm not mistaken. Now not having fungals here also hurts. Everything is starting to hurt here, and this is the type of drop that will get rid of your Marines very rapidly. Lovely to see. Just gonna trade out for a couple of these links, not pick them up, because you don't really need them anymore, and then you just send these medevacs back home. This also is a good fight here for Gumiho as he's getting rid of Marines. There's going to be a small period of time in which Oh, he's rebuilding Marines. He's actually afraid of a counterattack. Marines build very quickly. That sucks. This actually is a pretty scary counterattack as well. Oh no. That's a terrible way to go if this is how he goes. Double orbitals being morphed on the left side. Gumiho stays alive. Is adding more tanks, more ghosts. Although he's rebuilt some Marines, I think overall the quality of his army has increased much more in the past 35 seconds than in the 2-3 minutes before that. Couple of lurkers over here, which are now going to get taken out here by this Bio Ghost Force. Tanks helping out in the back as well as a safe haven to retreat to if necessary. No Banes in this army. Well, there are Banes in this army, but they weren't quite at the forefront there. This planetary still up and running. And this just seems secure, you know, like a double lip tank, planetary into planetary. Like that is serious business over here coming out of Gumiho. Who also is on 8 orbital commands already. Here comes another attack. Once again, where are your Vipers? Vipers still at home. This is so sick to watch. Solar is a player that I usually, you know, I commend for his Viper usage. But here, he doesn't even have a hotkey for them, it feels like. He's just been idling in the main base for such a long time. He's getting okay trades nonetheless, though. Hydra's moving in. Hydra Ling Bane moving in right now. As the Lings are going ham, or well, a single Ling is going ham over here. He's taking out multiple SCVs. He's gonna get 4 or 5 kills. Okay, we'll pull back now. No, continues. Look at that. 5 kills on that single Ling. That guy definitely worth his larva. As this orbital is not quite gonna burn down. Snipes coming in clutch there in the end. Solar in just a fantastic spot right now. Almost unlosable, I would say. Just, some type of spellcaster, I think, is still necessary. But as long as he's denying a potential 6th here for Gumiho, this might just be fine. Okay, this planetary in a little bit of trouble. This forces the hand of these liberators, which will now move forward. Scan needs to be activated. There we go. Will activate indeed. That's a nice move. And I think that's a smart way here for Solar to try and work on that left side base. Although not particularly necessary. As long as a 6th doesn't go up, that really is the only thing that matters. Here we go. There's 2 infestors in this comp this time as well. One of them is being burrowed. No, unburrows. Love to see some burrow play with these infestors. Fungal's going to connect, but Baneling's not nearby enough to really help out. Tanks in the back, shelling away at those Banes. Would love to see another lurker moving forward, as well as maybe some spores just being positioned aggressively. Could definitely help out. We have a bunch of these snipes on the Hydras, which is useful. Lings moving forward, parasitic bomb's gonna hit. But the control there out of Gumiho is good. Gumiho now moving on the map with 12 ghosts, a bunch of tanks. Wants to clear some creep, I guess, but that's really as far as he can go in my mind. We have a Nidus on the far right side. I wonder what's gonna pop out of there. You have 2 lurkers still around. One of those is in the Nidus. I guess could move beyond. No, never mind. There's tanks in position. These lurkers can do nothing. This base is gonna get taken out, which is a big deal. But as long as Gumiho doesn't secure a new base, Solar is going to be just fine. As long as Gumiho doesn't secure a new base. And Solar once again maxed out, has an army value of 5.6k, 2700. Almost matches with his current bank. So Gumiho needs to take out 2 armies here that belong to Solar. Once again, Solar, yeah, okay, finally has some Viper usage. Ah, yeah, we saw a Parasitic Bomb earlier as well. That was kind of nice. I mean, even just for Parasitic Bomb, Vipers are so vital. I'm really surprised to just see a single one throughout this game. It makes so little sense to me as this right side now is being taken out here by a 6 Marine force. It's actually a pretty big deal. Solar completely out of position. This is a mining base that is somewhat important for him. This base not quite working out yet. Small amount of forces is being rallied over there. And at the same time, I think he's setting up for a massive attack here on the left. Now, if he commits to this, it's important that he does get a kill. There's a huge army here on the right side. Humongous. This is it. This is all that Gumiho has. No, I think Solar's making a mistake. I think he could bust this, and that would completely open up that left side. Not just for his own bases, but for everything. Solar, however, feels that there's more priority here towards this area. Okay, one, hello? Oh, that's a pretty mediocre Blinding Cloud. Both infestors also end up dying. Baneling stuck behind the Hydras here. Still looks to be fine. As Solar's walking in and taking out these bases. Bane's not quite connecting with the Ghost yet. Left side tanks stay alive during all of this. Gumiho is going to be okay-ish with this fight. As long as he manages to set up now, he should be fine. Look how poorly this base is defended. It's just 2 planetaries. I think Solar missed prime opportunity there to deal with it. Now he's going to send another force probably towards this gold, as this gold is the lifeline that Gumiho has. Although I say that, Gumiho is also lacking gas mining. Should really saturate these gases at least. Needs to retake this base as well and saturate the gases. He's lacking in gas mining at the moment, and thus is producing Marines 2 at a time. 6 SCVs. We have another command center going down. This gold is going to get mined quickly. Of course, mules don't work quicker on golds. They just take the same amount of minerals as usual. So there's nothing weird there. But with the SCVs mining, you still should get a decent boost in income. This is a hard position to break, by the way. I don't like using the word impossible, but it is freaking impossible to break this base. And that left side, it's so darn vulnerable. And I need Solar to take that out, to realize that. He's completely unaware of how open that is, really. And how much more open it would make the natural and this general location. Like, you're just cutting off this base completely from any type of reinforcements as well, which would be huge. It would be huge. It really would be. Solar still expanding aggressively, but let's not forget, in a complete split map scenario, Solar needs to take either this base or this base. Resources lost right now, heavily favoring Gumiho. That is kind of what we're expecting in this type of game. Solar sets up an engagement. Where's the Viper? Well, if it was here, then nope, it doesn't really seem to have been here. If it was here, it didn't really contribute much to the fight. This was not a good fight for Solar, who really should realize that there's too much supply on the right side. How is it possible that someone can have 120 supply on the right side? Well, that's possible if there's no supply on the left side. There's literally 2 Liberators here. As Solar with a significant misjudgment here of where Gumiho is allocating his resources, his army. Lurker's now going in for a run by. I like this move. Could perhaps take out these tanks from the back. Well, this is a kind of a weird siege up. Okay, we'll take out some of these tanks. Solar's juggling this masterfully, these 2 armies. Now realizes kind of the disconnect between the natural and that gold base. It's like there's a huge area here that just needs to be defended at all times. And Gumiho doesn't quite have the units for. Gumiho bleeding out tanks. And when you lose tanks, it means that Infestor Baneling becomes much more usable. Solar, though, really bleeding out a crap ton of supply. Lurker's still alive, as the Ghosts need to move back to deal with this eventually. Or maybe Liberators. There's no real anti-air. There's no serious anti-air here. These Lurkers might turn into sitting ducks, though. It's like, where can they retreat to? Not to the right. So the moment Ghosts come back, this is what, 6-7 Lurkers that fall. Yeah, where are you gonna go, buddy? There's no escape plan, and this is why I said earlier as well, every rock that gets taken out is a good rock that you're taking out. And the fact that these rocks are still up is insane to me. Yeah, so at the same time, Solar moving in right now, trying to deal some serious damage. He's not quite gonna get it, though. This game really has been a failure of Solar realizing where he needs to hit. Perhaps still some newness to the map, where he doesn't understand where his opponent is going to be moving, how to rotate aggressively. Felt like Solar's focus here on the gold base is pretty much what kills him in this game. We're 24 minutes and 50 seconds in, as Solar, for the first time in a long time, is lower in supply and thus instantly taps out. Resources lost here, 67k to 41k. This base should have been almost impossible to hold. You need to defend so much area here as Gumiho, as a Terran player. I'm not sure if it's possible with the limited army supply you have. Maybe if you have 300 army supply, it's possible, but not like this. It's just one of those games where I feel like if Solar gets put in that same position again multiple times, I have a difficult time seeing him lose it again and again. It's kind of getting focused on that right side. It's just a mistake, in my mind at least. And I feel like the early Viper usage and just in general spellcaster usage was a little bit lackluster, or just lacking overall. I think one of the trademarks of the top players, the top Zergs, and specifically I want to talk about Dark and Serral then when it comes to that late game ZVT, is just the Burrowed Infestor and how powerful it is and how scared Terrans are of that Burrowed Infestor. That is also something that we shouldn't forget about. It's like, well, it isn't even just necessarily the Burrowed Infestor, but also Terrans consistently having to scout absolutely everywhere. It just is really difficult for Terran, and they need turrets or they can't move into an area. And I think Solar used Burrowed Infestors once in the entire game. It feels like he's just, you know, he's great with the tools that he uses. Like he's a master with the hammer, you know. He's like, give the guy a nail and his hammer to go absolutely bonkers. But he doesn't know so much about wiring, you know. And that is where some of the other players just are more complete in their skill set. It feels like, at least. And I'm not sure if Solar just isn't aware. Like, this is one of those things as well where sometimes you're not aware that you're lacking something. And someone else needs to tell you. Like you're even if you're watching the other games, you don't quite understand. Like, you can often just tell yourself, like, oh, they're using these infestors, but I don't think that's actually that good. Like, well, that actually is very good. Like, you need to use that. And I think it's easy to kind of trick yourself into believing that you know better. And sometimes you actually do know better. Like, you'll see a player do a build. It's like, oh, he's the best player in the world. Surely it's good. It's like, well, actually, that build can be done more efficiently. But then there's a lot of other things that that particular player does so much better than you that it would be good to copy. I guess in general, you kind of want to copy a lot from the best players in the world. I feel like Solar there. Ooh, cute move. Waiting out here with these four links is gonna get double kills on the SCVs, and Depot also is gonna get cancelled. First two Hellions now on the way. This is what is this? Why did he build this on the low ground? Because he... Oh. What you doing, buddy? It's gonna be a reactor or tech lab. These days you're not quite sure, you know? Okay, it's gonna be tech lab still. So probably Blue Flame Hellion. We have pneumatized Carapace coming in over here. Two Cyclones also popping out. Solar wants to know what's kicking off. He's gonna figure it out at some point. The Cyclones might come in handy though, dealing with it. What are we gonna get? Rapid Thrusters or Blue Flame? I think Blue Flame makes the most sense as the initial upgrade. 99% of the time. But we're still waiting. Oh, okay. It's Rapid Thrusters. This is the speed boost for the Cyclone, making them go vroom vroom at a very high pace. Cyclone plus barracks moving around, looking for Overlords. Overlord is being sent into the main though, and with the speed. Not sure if it can escape against any potential Cyclones. It's gonna spot these Cyclones and run away. It will get the safety. Cyclones that deal a lot of damage. Okay, we'll move to safety. It's gonna just send this back home. Might have to send in another Overlord to get the full scout, but I think he's got the idea of what's going on here. I mean, he saw a bunch of cars, saw those two Cyclones as well. Throws down a Roach Warren. This is quick mech upgrades as well. Don't forget, before vehicle weapons upgrade didn't apply to the Cyclone. That is the case now. So this fast +1 rush actually is kind of powerful. And this is a very delayed third base. I don't want to call this a 2-base all-in, but this is a very aggressive 2-base play. This is a very aggressive 2-base play with, by the way, the possibility of a Hellbat attack always there. It's just kind of lurking around, that Hellbat, the potential Hellbatting. It's always there. It's just waiting to be utilized. And you shouldn't forget about that. Because Hellbats can make a surprisingly strong push with 3-4 Cyclones. Especially if Roaches aren't quite out yet. Roaches do get produced right now. I hope we have Lair on the way. Yeah, we do. It's almost finishing up. The moment the Roaches get their Roach speed, they tend to fight really quite well against Cyclones. Are going to receive their +1 upgrades. And this is what I was hoping to see from Gumiho here at the highest level of competition. Is that he just gets these new builds out. Like these new little tricks. And I think he's in a pretty okay spot. This is not brilliant by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's good. He's moving in, getting overlords. There's no road speed quite yet. That means that these cyclones with the rapid thrusters are having a blast. They're having an absolute blast. Tanks being produced behind this as well. And I think this is, in a way, Gumiho showing some constraint. And I think that's good. Too often I see Terran players get kind of caught up into their cyclone production. They get so excited building cyclones that they forget that there's also tanks still. The cyclone is a brilliant unit, but it has a limited role. And that role is pretty much, in my mind, is probably kind of played out already. You can still add them in and keep map control, but adding in a couple of these tanks right now, I think is a difficult call to make, but I also believe it's the correct call to make. Just going 3, 4, maybe 5 tanks, and then just having multiple groups of Cyclone Hellion just kind of roaming around the map. Yeah, I freaking love that. I think that's smart. I really think that's smart. +1 is already done. +2 is halfway done. There's no upgrades here for Solar. And Solar's moving out across the map with road speed. 68 workers. Hellions here in a weird position now morphing into Hellbats. This tank in the back should help out. The second tank now moving in as well. Okay, here we go. Cyclones, of course, dishing out a crap ton of damage. Oh, this is looking real fine right now for Gumiho as he cleans this up in masterful fashion. And as he's secured a solid setup here, we see Solar morphing a Spire. This is the last construction that I had expected. With the hive being timed as it is, it almost feels like a Broodlord rush rather than a Muta transition. Because that's where my mind went. I was like, oh, Spire, Muta transition. Holy crap, look how dangerous that looks. This is seriously toxic gas. What the hell? Entire purple glow around that thing. And so here comes a double Hellion harass. At this point, I hope that Gumiho is aware the lack of, Blue Flame. I think he forgot about it, to be honest. I think he forgot about Blue Flame there. Spire about to finish up, and with Broodlords, maybe we have a timing, maybe we have a push. Don't forget that Thors are a decent counter to the Broodlords, so it's not like the moment that Broodlords are out that all of a sudden mech sucks. I'd like to see these small Cyclone forces still being utilized a bit further on the map. And just having this tank backbone and then multiple groups of Cyclones. I guess there are fungals out, which makes it much harder to start moving there. Gumiho is keen here on a +2 timing attack. I'm seriously surprised by that. File's not connecting yet. Tank count is what, 5, 6, 7? Greater Spire on the way, big fungal hits. No Medivacs here to heal those Hellbats either, of course. So you have a consistent leapfrog moving across the map. This base is very close to where Gumiho currently is. These Cyclones are doing a decent job fighting as well. I think this is evacuation time, and Solar thinks so too. Now the next base is a little bit further away. That's gonna take at least another 45 seconds to maybe a minute even to properly get there. And if you lose a couple of tanks on the way, then all of a sudden this push is weak. This push lives and dies by the grace of the siege tank. And if the siege tank ain't around to back you up, then you don't really have anything. Cyclones are good if they can kite away into siege backup. I wonder what Gumiho's plan is going to be. His supply is kind of low. His forward base is late. He has bad eco. This feels like a massive all-in here. File's now trying to connect. Brute split. Tanks being moved forward 4x4 first. 4 Corruptors are out, or on the way out. 6 Corruptors coming out. Broodlord transition is imminent. Tanks being taken out. And really all that Solar needs to do is survive until Brutes are out. A single Thor has been built, but a single Thor is not quite enough usually. Gumiho now switching where he wants to attack to. As we see him move out towards the right side. I think he's moving way too slow right now. Way too slow. A lot of Cyclones in here. As the first 2 Brutes are morphing. There is a Viper available. If that Thor gets taken out, there's no serious anti-air in this army. And I feel like Gumiho should be somewhat aware of the lack of speed in his push and what that means for the potential of this push, really. One fungal away from catching a lot of these cyclones. Gonna completely miss. Hits the statue instead. Doesn't quite look green enough yet. So cyclones take out one broody. But now the broodies are here and they'll start fighting the tanks. And like I said, without a tank backbone, these cyclones really do quite suck. 4 Thors are in production. We have vehicle plating on the way. Upgrades are garbage tier here for Solar, who's stuck on 4 bases, just like his opponent is. But for Terran, it's not really being stuck on 4 bases if your opponent is on 4. Like, that's pretty okay. Oh my god, a huge move command. What? Loses 30, well, maybe 20, 25 supply there for free. Thor's not quite in position. He decides to make his stand a couple seconds too early. Has 4 Thors ready to pop out soon. There we go. Viper is out. Could pull one of these guys in. Could pull a second one in. Gets both of them. Huge moves here. Because that might allow these Broodlords to stay alive for just a tiny bit longer. Solar is just walking over his opponent. What seemed like an almost impossible mission here is now turning into a sure win. I think Gumiho was seconds away from a hold and a phenomenal spot here. Does end up losing game number 2, but Solar ties up the series. There's like 2 moments there where I wonder how does the game end if those don't happen. First of all, it's kind of the move command. If that move command doesn't happen and there's still a Cyclone Hellion army on the map, it's much harder for Solar to move his entire force across, because the Broodlords, they require the Ravager road support, right? They require that, because if any amount of Thors show up otherwise, Broods will just die. So there needs to be a supporting ground force. And then second of all, I feel like that Gumiho sends it just a bit too quick initially in his natural already. I think there's some time to pull back a little bit longer. And there's that unfortunate moment where both the Thors get abducted in, which was far from ideal, of course. Link speed finishes up. Gumiho opened up with a CC first here as he's moving into a 2-1-1 setup. Oh, but this is one of those new school builds, I think. This is one of the builds that the kids have been using lately. Yeah, this is interesting. So he's opening up with like a semi-Hellion build. Solar is gonna get the scout off on that barracks. That is huge. That is absolutely massive. Solar is like, wait, what is this? he's fishing for more expedition. This fishing expedition is coming to an end soon. So we have an eBay in the main. What am I watching? Okay, so there's going to be a 7 marine drop. And then I guess as a follow-up, a 2-1-1 type of setup. This build feels kind of out there, to be honest. I'm not super familiar with it, as I've never seen it before. I think it's going to work out quite well, though. I think it's going to work out quite well. We already have 10 Marines. He's gonna get that number up to 12, 13. Then probably send this out on the map. And at that point, Stim should finish, while also having these Hellions there. So this is some heavy pressure here coming out of Gumiho. With a tank too. It almost feels like a 2-base all-in. But he's getting a 3rd, so it's not really. No reactor quite on this. There go the 8 Marines in the medevac. It's going to bring the total of Marines on the map up to 15. First tank is now out. Can we have another medevac out? He's just producing medevacs one by one out of the starport. This is kind of unheard of. There's 8 roaches being produced. You have 3 barracks as well here. Here we go. Big pickup in towards the main. No, not towards the main. Hellions looking for damage. Probably gonna get it. There's nothing in position here to deal with it. There's 16 links. They ain't here though. This is some... what? Missing absolutely everything. Now gets 5-6 kills. I felt like he should have gotten much more damage there, but he didn't. Solar in a bit of an awkward spot. I think Solar might have misread this as a 2-base all-in, just like I did. He's going for a 1-1 roach into Infestation Pit. This is not the preferred playstyle here for our South Korean Zerg player. 6 more drones on the way as well. 1-1 upgrades. It's looking alright. It's looking alright. Get a 4th hatch over here. Is that a possibility, perhaps? Might be. Command center lands at the 3rd as we see the triple medevac boost in towards the main. Just get a stim off here. Yeah, we can. He's unloaded in the main and is now unloading a bunch of bullets on top of those roaches as well. With +1 actually getting okay trades. Not sure if he could have fought here for longer. Probably not. I think Gumiho makes the correct estimation there. Good analysis of that particular situation. Tanks are being produced one at a time. Medevac still being produced one at a time, despite there being a reactor on it right now. So far he's built 4 single medevacs. All the single medis. All the single medevacs. Put your hands up. Up in the club. Na, 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 na. Lurker then on the way. Solar... I'd love to see melee plus range here. +2 range and then +1 melee being added in. Not because I necessarily think this is the correct way to play this. I don't know what the correct way to play this is, but because I feel like Solar is more comfortable with that style. And now his hand is being forced almost, and he needs to find a way to get back where he's best, you know? This is like forcing Michael Phelps to run. I'm sure he's a good stamina, but you can find him back into the water, man. This guy moves like a beast. Fungal, 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 fungal. No? Gumiho with good pre-split here all this, well, every single time. Okay, it's going to be +1 melee and +2 range, exactly like I thought it, or as I wanted it to be here. But I think Solar is actually in serious trouble. I think he's in serious trouble. This is of 3 bases. This is of 3 bases. Do not forget, Gumiho, low eco, needs to throw down a 4th base at some point. So Solar now rotating some of these drones towards the bottom right side. We immediately have a double drop heading there as well. As a Ling run by gets set up. These Lings are weak, these Lings are powerless. As they have no serious upgrades. They have a carapace upgrade, that's about it. It's not going to be good enough. Medevac's fairly empty. Lurkers will be capable of keeping this ramp, I think. Ravager gets cancelled. This is an important hold. This 4th base is extremely important. I'm surprised to see the 4th base for Gumiho being built on location as well. Pickup is forced. And I think Solar has secured himself another minute and a half at least of relative rest. As I say that, Gumiho might be going for a rotation towards the right. It's 69 Marines already. 16 of those in the 2 medevacs as this army is gonna get caught by the roaches. Lurkers now moving over towards the right side as well. This position is awful defensively. I see like 12 tank spots here just on a single screen. And Gumiho has much better eyes than I do, so he's gonna see more. There's nothing in the main base. Lynx can't come in to save this. He needs Lurkers or Roaches really to deal with this. Because Lynx just don't have the power right now to fight off Marines. If there's no Banes with it. Okay, Roaches are showing up. Are gonna be capable of dealing with this. So we have a push towards the middle, creep quickly disappearing. Do we have Vipers on the map? No. Not a single Viper on the map. Adrenal glands being researched. This base is going up. This Ling not quite scouting it yet. It's a little bit frustrating here for Solar. He's on 71 workers. And I want to say he's stabilized, but Gumiho just hasn't pushed. So you can't really say you've stabilized if there's no serious threat right now. And this is the first time that Gumiho really is going to test his opponent again. I'm not so sure if Solar's going to be capable of passing the test. Does get a fungal, misses the bios though. 4 tanks moving forward, 5 tanks moving forward. At the same time, double drop in towards the main base. Hive is gonna fall. That is detrimental potentially here, as no more Vipers can be built. 4th base gets taken out once more. Once again gets retaken as well. There's already a 5th. There's already a 6th on the way here for Gumiho. who also finds himself on 7 barracks and 2 factories. I mean, this is superior production, superior eco, and he's still just running around with these drops as well. No way to properly deal with them. Parasitic Bomb should be out to perhaps try and stop this type of abuse, but at the same time, there's just nothing really defensively here. There's no way to counterattack. There's no way to deal damage for Solar. And I think Solar is freaking dead right now. He's just in such a bad position. Fungal Boy moves in. That's a huge... How is that possible? Gumiho falling asleep there on the keyboard for a sec, but the 2-2 upgrades shining through here. Tanks in the back. Lurker dishing out some serious damage. Takes out 3 tanks there. That was poor play by Gumiho, but I don't think it was poor enough. He needs worse plays than that in order to throw this game out of the window. Gumiho in a phenomenal spot here, unsieging half of his tanks right now. It's not even gonna matter. It's these Ravagers. I just don't think they have the damage output they need. Tank siege back up. And Gumiho here at 170 supply against the 112. GG calls Solar. Gumiho wins this match here. This was Group A of the GSL. It's one of the first matches. I think it was called Match 2. One of the predetermined ones. Gumiho versus Solar. Yeah, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to check out the GSL page from patreon.com/GSL in order to support the players that play in that tournament. And I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.